So the pant and shirt, tuck in the shirt for me. Okay. I'm gonna grab you some
I didn't really
shoes.
choose Tacoma. Tacoma kind of chose me, right? It's like I moved here from New York and I was gonna move to Los Angeles, and I was in Gig Harbor at the time. And started hanging out in Tacoma and realized that I love the city, right? So it's the reason I wanted to open a store here is because I wanted to add to the culture and to the identity of the city as a whole. I mean, so Feather and Oar is a quality used secondhand menswear store in downtown Tacoma. So the idea for us was to really, bring what we love and our love for classic menswear to Tacoma and kind of into a store setting. So the focus is going to be timeless American menswear and then a mixture of the Northwest outdoorsman. So it's kind of everything from the blue blazer to the button-down shirt and tie to jeans and tweeds and plaids. And we really like to marry both of those styles together to create like individual looks.
I love when guys come in the door and they don't know what we are, or they haven't thought about dressing or going and buying clothes in years, and just opening up that conversation and just watching the gears start to work and saying, I'm gonna look at things differently now. I just think that being that door, being able to be that gateway to just that thought process is why I love what we do.
What clicks with you?
Well, I'm trying to find the most versatile ways, or the most versatile pieces. So even if a piece, say, like accents his eyes really well, if it doesn't button in the neck and if it doesn't fit him in the sleeve properly, then it's not the right piece for him. So it's really about the full roundness of the piece fitting into the wardrobe, so that it's not just specific, because the mental thing is the whole thing for men's clothing.
Basically, if you break it down to tailoring as a whole is actually a craft. It's a trade. It's not necessarily like an occupation, but it's a true skill set that you actually go and undergo an apprenticeship for. The majority of what I do is mostly by hand. There's very little machine work involved. I'm one of the few in America that actually apply this trade. Pretty much the only people that I know in America that apply this trade is in New York, Chicago, and LA. We've seen over the last 10 years, artisan bakers, people that are getting back into glass blowing, all these arts and crafts that were almost essentially lost within the last 30 years with modern living. People are really wanting to have that back.
Really, it's not about the clothes. It's about the clothes for me. It's about the fabric and all of that. But really, when a guy comes in, it's about his image, And so, in lots of ways, sociology-wise, we're creating extra cultural space that hasn't been here for a while. Oakland, actually, I was going to go down and do the apprenticeship there, and it kind of just worked out that this was actually the more feasible market. Tacoma is super hungry. Super hungry for interesting things.
The biggest thing for us is how do we go out and how do we identify the people of the city and then create that identity via clothing. So we do lots of things like photo shoots and fashion shows. We just did a photo shoot for LeMay Car Museum, and then we also did a fashion show for Bike Month for the city of Tacoma at Broken Spoke. So those are the two ways we really engage the community and let them kind of see what we do outside of the store. And from there, it's our hopes that people at the event or people who see these photos from these photo shoots are going to recognize what we do. One of my biggest driving forces behind everything is history. I think it's important for the future of any city or for the future of people to really understand how we got to where we are. That way we can grow forward. So, when it pertains to clothing, it's a lot about the designer or the manufacturing that goes behind it all and knowing that story. So in a sense, every piece of clothing we have in the store has its individual history as well as collective company history or manufacturing history. So. And then obviously the building and the name are two, I think, historical aspects. The building that we're standing in was built in roughly 1903, and it's brick and hardwood and exposed beam ceilings. And then the Feather and Oar name itself ties back to the city's history. So the feather, being the Native American side of history, and the oar being the European side.
Everything's kind of evolved, become more casually acceptable. The thing that makes it semi-casual is the loafer. The fact that he doesn't have a lace is the only thing that's really making this appear casual. If he had an Oxford or even a cap toe or something like that, this is definitely something I feel you could go to any interview or any presentation in this community and feel totally comfortable, overdressed even. So it's a way of being comfortable while still feeling confident. So I like to say that it's white collar above the waist and blue collar below the waist. Perfect Tacoma